now, the weather is what's on tap. You know, we've had this fake spring here for the last few days, and it's been nice. It's been a good reprieve, but, you know, it can only last so long, and we get a little bit more of this. You know, just looking at some webcams across northern Minnesota, and some of them kind of hard to see much. This is from Grand Marais. That is the harbor. Through the haze, you can see kind of the lighthouse of the harbor there. But again, Grand Marais, beautiful spot up on the North Shore. Population, what, about 1,300 or so people. Great place to visit right now, though you just can't really see it very well. Wintry, blizzard-like conditions, tough travel, strong winds, power outages, the whole shebang. So right now, let's go over to meteorologist Keith Marler to give an update on what's hitting there and what is kind of hitting further to the south too. Hi, Keith.
Good morning there, Rob. Yeah, our totals are really racking up across parts of northern Minnesota as a whole as you go up towards the joy that is the North Shore, and our totals really just are up to the foot marker, no problem whatsoever. And every time we get an updated total along the North Shore, it's falling in line in the 10, the 11, the 12, or the 13-inch marker so far. I'm hoping to get some more totals in here between noon and 2 o'clock this afternoon. But 13 inches in two harbors. We got a 13-inch marker in Finland. We got a few more that are in the 12 and 13-inch range as well. Castle Danger coming in, a little over 12.5 inches of snow. Grand Marais coming in, about 10.5 inches of snow. Chisholm coming in at 9 inches of snow. They came in around 7:30 this morning, around 6.5, so they picked up about 3 inches of snow just across the morning. Lutsen, that's about just before 8 o'clock this morning at 7.4. I have not heard back from Lutsen since then. Bemidji coming in, going away from the North Shore, all the way over into more of that north central and northwestern part of the state. 6 inches of snow. They're well within the winter storm warning zone as well. And then Fort Ripley. Fort Ripley is obviously just south of Brainerd. And yesterday when we spoke, not under the winter weather advisory, although I said, you know, it's probably going to slide to the south. Well, that winter weather advisory slid to the south, then the south, then the south, then the south again, as the metro was encompassed by the 8 o'clock hour this morning, and then it slid south and then again south. It's all the way down to the Interstate 94 corridor now. Fort Ripley has about 3.5 inches of snow. So our rain showers overnight came on by. We picked up about a 1/4 inch of rain into the morning commute, and then we've teased these light flakes mixing in with rain and then changing over to the slush. And we've talked about this, is that there's a big difference between what's going on to the north versus the south, and that the north has always had most of a snowpack more than not. And the south not only has got rid of the snowpack, but the south has been without a snowpack for days, if not for parts of southern Minnesota, weeks. So this is falling on ground that has denied snow for a while and has been without snow for a while and has a lot of surfaces that have not been refrigerated in a while. So as this wannabe snow, which doesn't want to be, this is rain that is just changing over and falling and going, I don't want to be this frozen entity. As it has changed over, it is hitting a ground that doesn't want to accept it either. And so there's a little bit of a battle going on. I'll show you more in just a second. North Shore, winds coming out of the east, gusting to 66 miles per hour at times in Duluth, up to 50 plus miles per hour in Grand Marais. That's that lake enhanced snow machine. So the gusts alone warrant the blizzard warning. It doesn't matter how much snow you're getting. You get an inch of snow, blizzard warning in effect for the winds themselves. But you make that lake machine turn on with lake enhanced snow and you're getting 1 to 2 feet of snow. Mess. Center of circulation still just to our now northwest. This is a broad area of circulation. Winds coming out of the east across northern Minnesota, winds coming out of the west, and that's where the colder air is circulating back around and why our rain has changed over to snow as the colder air has really moved on in. Winds gusting to 32 miles per hour in the metro, winds gusting to 40 or 50 miles per hour, which is why the new blizzard warning was posted just before 11 a.m. this morning for the Minnesota River Valley. Much different in terms of the mechanics than the blizzard warning for the North Shore. Look at that. Only a 46 mile per hour wind gust in Duluth. That's the lowest wind gust I've seen in Duluth all morning long. Winds gusting into 60 miles per hour has been the norm in Duluth. 31 degrees and officially frozen at the airport now. That's the first. It happened at 11:30. Southwest winds at 20, but higher gusts overall. As we circulate into the better part of our afternoon, that circulation of that bubble of not wannabe snow across the southern part of the low versus the I am snow and I'm proud to be here snow on the north side. Big difference. North side snow accumulating, it's no problem. We're working and we're snow, we're professionals. The south side, this is intern snow. This is, hey, I don't even know if I'm even supposed to be here today. What do? I brought a notebook. but I forgot a pencil. So this is trying to hit the ground and kind of accumulating, and we're doing what we need to do. And now I'm on a surface and I'm driving kind of through something, but I'm not really stacking up. Some folks are going to get maybe an inch or two, maybe more of this west of town. Some folks, your cool surfaces will collect. We're doing it in the metro, but slippery spots will be very scattered. It depends on what your road is. Does it have sun versus shade? You know the drills. I don't have to go over this. We live this. So all this will taper off overnight tonight, Robus. And see, I've combined Rob and Thomas together into a Robus. And now we're going to keep the snow machine going across parts of the North Shore to tomorrow, while the rest of us get quiet and the cloud cover will linger and we'll bounce back to the upper 30s. I have made this map as clean as I could. You should have seen this back at some point, and it's going to probably pop up again for you guys as the next 2 hours go. But this is the clean version of this map. The red zones are blizzard warnings. Gusts to 45 miles per hour in southwestern Minnesota, gusts to 60 or 65 miles per hour at times on the North Shore. Blizzard warnings for whiteout conditions and not about accumulation. The accumulation to the south, it could be ½ inch, it could be 2 inches. North Shore, 1 to 2 feet. That's the problem with the lake enhanced snow machine. 5 to 10 inches along and north of Highway 2. That's the same warning we've been talking about for 24 hours. That goes through midnight tonight. The blizzard warning goes through noon tomorrow. Winter weather advisory between Highway 2 and Highway 10 from Brainerd Lakes area up through Bemidji. This is for real snow. 3 to 5 inches of snow. The advisory then transitions on the 94 corridor and points south. Notice there's this hole here. This is the intern snow. This is the I'm falling on ground that was warm and wet. So these are the splotchy areas where it's trying to figure out what it wants to do. Even in the metro, even down in Mankato, even down toward Rochester and Red Wing, where we've had 60-degree temperatures and no snow for days, if not weeks. This is the collection of cool surface versus warm surface versus in the Twin Cities. I'm driving and where is it? So we've got it filling in the blanks here. I've been watching this view here for a while. So our grassy surfaces are trying to get covered as temperatures are falling and flirting with freezing. But breezy and wet and slushy, and just watch what you're stepping on and watch what you're driving on for the rest of the afternoon and through the evening commute especially, as things will get a little dicey for some as we hover near or just even at freezing for the rest of the day, and then just flat out frozen and slippery tonight. Be aware of that. Everything's going to be damp and wet and slightly slushy, and you might actually have to scrape or shovel something tonight or tomorrow morning. Then just getting cooler, highs in the upper 30s for tomorrow, and then we're going to stay frozen beyond that. But seasonable is frozen, Rob, for this time of year. 30 is about where we're supposed to be, and then we'll stay in the 20s this weekend before we bounce back. But this is causing some traffic problems, not just in the metro, but across the state. Lauren is now going to take a look at how things are shaping up on that commute as we go on into our afternoon.
Yeah, I want to start down in southern Minnesota. You were talking about whether that snow is sticking. And in Mankato this afternoon, it is starting to stick here. The rain or snow is starting to come down across southern Minnesota. Things were looking dry there throughout the morning. Wet roads in the Twin Cities, and our friends in northern Minnesota were the ones seeing some different kind of road conditions. Here's what Highway 22 is looking like right in the heart of Mankato. Roads are looking just fine, maybe a little slushy, maybe a little wet, but crashes are very low. You go to some county roads outside of Mankato, especially roads that aren't flanked with buildings, a different story. Partially and even fully covered roads with blizzard-like conditions. I want to take a look at the state road conditions map. This is data that comes in from 511mn.org, a really great resource to use as you're stepping out the door. It's an algorithm, so these road conditions are calculated based on some atmospheric sensors, some road sensors, and then of course MnDOT drivers who are manually entering what roads are looking like. They don't look at all of the roads, which is why we have this statewide data map. And this morning it was basically Brainerd and north. We were seeing fully covered roads. Now things are looking a lot better. Partially covered roads. There's over 100 plows out in northern Minnesota. In central Minnesota, Stearns County, St. Cloud, the 94 corridor up to Alexandria, looking pretty good. What has changed the most in the last couple of hours is what's going on in central Minnesota and southern Minnesota. This pink down here is Mankato, fully covered roads to New Ulm, up to Dassel, Cokato, Litchfield, Hutchinson, seeing some blizzard-like conditions. And that's why you see these little purple roads around New Ulm, around the Marshall area. No travel advised on those roads as we deal with those whiteout conditions and some really dangerous road conditions across southern Minnesota. Also, some no travel advisories in the northeastern part of the state. In fact, Highway 61, beautiful scenic 61 that takes you along Lake Superior from Duluth to the Canadian border, was closed for hours today. And I had some folks reach out to me from the Duluth area who said in their decades of living in Duluth, they do not remember a time where 61 completely closed in both directions for dozens of miles here. That has been downgraded to a no travel advisory, and I'll show you why. While you can get on these roads on Highway 61, not recommended. We're seeing fully covered roads, really windy conditions, and because of that lake effect snow that's come in, it looks like the roads are kind of ice crusted as well. We've seen lots of crashes, lots of spinouts, a couple of jackknife semis across northern Minnesota today. State Patrol just came in and said 60 property damage crashes between midnight and noon this afternoon, so just a couple of minutes ago, which is a relatively low number, and it was all kind of centrally located in northern Minnesota. Here's what Bemidji is looking like right now. Your major roads across the Iron Range, Highway 271, 371 are looking good, but you take a look at those state highways. This is State Highway 89, fully covered. You can't even really tell where the road starts and where the road ends. We've seen several crashes here and still some slow backed up traffic even around the Iron Range. Over to northwestern Minnesota, we haven't talked much about the Fargo area, but you go north of Grand Forks. This is Oslo, Highway 29, I believe. And yeah, fully covered roads, and that wind is playing a huge factor in that. So even as we have hundreds of plows, I'd like to say hundreds, definitely over 100 plows in northern Minnesota, the wind can undo all of that progress in just a couple of minutes. Ooh, let's bounce down to western Minnesota. Just west of the Twin Cities, roads are starting to cover. This is Lester Prairie, Highway 7, which takes you through the Minnetonka chain of lakes to the Twin Cities. Partially covered roadways, a lot of slush and slop and slick conditions. In the Twin Cities still, we are dealing with wet roads, and for that reason, speeds aren't looking that bad. It is an easy time of day to travel, but that could likely change as we head into our evening commute. So as you're stepping out the door for any afternoon errands or to get home from work, to pick the kids up from school, drive with caution. Even if the roads are looking fully plowed or just wet like they were this morning, slush and slick spots, especially around those areas like your ramps, bridges, overpasses, anywhere crossing a body of water, things can get slick really fast. But the good news is very little crashes to talk about, Rob, now as we head into our lunch hour.
Well, that's good. We like to hear that, and we hope it keeps that way as well. Because, looking outside, it's, you see the dusting on the ground out there that just a couple hours ago was still just bare grass from the melting we've had.
Absolutely. It changes quick. Tom Butler just texted Keith and I both and said, as you're stepping out the door, be careful. It's very slick on our sidewalks this afternoon. So things are changing very quickly.
Well, Mr. Butler should have stopped and picked up some of the salt and spread it out there before he got in his car. I don't know what. I'm going to have a word with Thomas. Thank you, Lauren. Appreciate it.